Welcome to this video about moving VSAM and DB2 data to Azure SQL to innovate on the cloud with mainframe data. In this use case, we have an on-premises data center with a ZOS mainframe with DB2 and VSAM files. In DB2, all sales data resides like orders and products, and in VSAM, we have the customer data. CONNX allows you to access more than 150 data sources with its DB adapters, including DB2 and VSAM, and create a virtual view on all data to access it with standard SQL statements. CONNX Data Sync on top of SQL data access is able to replicate your data to the same amount of data targets. You can select tables or create transformations for your data for replication. You can group tables into units and then set up schedules for repetitive and timed replication. In this case, we are replicating to Azure SQL, a cloud-based relational database in the Microsoft Azure cloud. Having data replicated to SQL database in the cloud, it's easy to access the data with standard SQL and connect from any front-end application. So let's see how this works. We start with the mainframe. I'm connected to a mainframe in our on-premises data center with a terminal emulation. You can see the ISPF editor. I am inside the dataset utility and I've selected a dataset name which contains the VSAM customer data. You can see that the volume of the dataset is VSAM. I will browse the dataset to see the sequential data inside. We will focus on one of these records. It will be Bergs, with the name Bergstedt Scandinavian Grocery. Besides customer data in VSAM, we also have customer data in a DB2 database, like the order and product data for these customers. We will also use that in this demo. Now let's switch to the CONNX data dictionary. Here we can see the CONNX data dictionary, which is giving us an overview of all data sources we have specified. We can see all data sources and how CONNX is connecting to them, like the specific server name and port of our mainframe where the customer VSAM data is located. We can also see the definition of the data tables, which are usually imported automatically by CONNX import capabilities. CONNX offers import capabilities for all supported data sources. You also can see the ZOS DB2 database we have connected with the DB2 order and product tables, and also look into a table definition. Additionally, we can see the Azure SQL database server. It is running in the Azure cloud and is our target database to replicate the data to. We can access all data sources defined in the CONNX data dictionary with any ODBC and JDBC client. I will use a simple Software AG ASP.NET demo application to query SQL data based on CONNX SQL data access technology. We can enter any standard SQL statement in this test program to retrieve data and also filter the data to return only selected records from the customer's VSAM file. So we got 2 records returned, and one of these records is Bergs, the Scandinavian grocery record we are already familiar with from the sequential VSAM file. As next step, we can use CONNX data sync replication. Here we can see the data sync dashboard, which allows us to replicate all available tables, but also apply custom transformations or group tables and transformations together for replication. Here we can see a replication that is set up and replicates 3 tables to the SQL Server database, which is our default target. Now we start the synchronization step manually. There are different synchronization types we can choose. Let's do a full reload in the beginning. We can see replication happening, and if we refresh the view, we can see in the history replication performed for this group and the 3 tables inside the group with its records. For instance, more than 20,000 order records been replicated for the SQL Server database. Now we are switching to the cloud portal in Microsoft Azure. We have a SQL Server database running called mainframe integration. With the query editor, I can look into the tables and we can see here the replicated customer VSAM table. If I execute the query to select the top records, you can see here our Berg Scandinavian grocery record replicated from the mainframe. Having data replicated in a SQL Server database in the cloud, it's easy to access it from any application running in the cloud. Here we can see an ASP.NET demo application running in the cloud that allows us to access mainframe data replicated to the SQL Server database in Azure, the one we have seen before. Entering the customer ID Bergs and clicking on Get Customer Data, you can see on the right-hand side Berg Scandinavian grocery data returned from SQL Server in the cloud. There's a SQL join statement used behind the scenes returning the most recent order information for a particular customer, combining data from customer, order, and product tables. So now let's make a change to the mainframe data. Now we are using again the simple SQL demo application to make a change to the VSAM customer data. Having this update SQL statement executed, we change the customer name on the mainframe to mainframe integration video. On the mainframe, we can again browse our VSAM customer dataset, and here we can see the change to the Bergs record with the new name mainframe integration video. Back in CONNX Data Sync, we can rerun the replication for the SQL tables. This time, we can do an automatic replication, which will be incremental. We can see that the customer VSAM table has one updated record, which was replicated to the SQL Server database. Switching to the Azure portal and the synchronized database in the cloud, we can rerun the select statement. Running the select statement, we can see that Berg's record now changed to mainframe integration video. So we can see mainframe data being replicated to SQL Server in the cloud. And finally, we can use our front-end demo application that is accessing the SQL data and re-execute the SQL statement. Rerunning the statement, we can now see the customer name has changed to mainframe integration video as we change this record on the mainframe. I hope this could demonstrate how easy it is to replicate mainframe VSAM and DB2 data into a SQL database in the cloud with CONNX replication technology from Software AG. If you want to learn more, please visit softwareag.com/CONNX. This was moving VSAM DB2 data to Azure SQL with CONNX Data Sync from Software AG.